Hello, everyone. We just got out of seeing Texas Chainsaw, and I got shits to say. What are you?
I didn't understand it at all.
You have no idea?
Some kids that we weren't really introduced to did some things, and characters everywhere, and I don't know.
Fascinating.
It felt like we started halfway through a movie and started another movie.
It's, oh yeah, there's going to be a fuckload of spoilers here because
Because it's her and me.
And you know, it doesn't really matter if you've not seen any of the other Texas Chainsaw films, because this film actually punishes you for having seen Texas Chainsaw movies. Okay, I'm going to explain this to you at the same time.
I haven't seen any Texas Chainsaw movies.
See, Texas Chainsaw movies, you got the 5 kids, they go to the house, one at a time, they get killed by Leatherface, the entire family are all mental, overtly.
That's Leatherface. Ah.
The entire family are all mental overtly, except for possibly the cook, played by Jim Sido. Then the one woman who, after being tormented for like half an hour, gets away. In the original film, there is the hitchhiker, there's the cook, there's Leatherface, and there's Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a mummified body of another woman, of another family member. But there's only those 4. In this one, there's like 20. And the cook is played by Bill Moseley, who played Chop Top, who was like another brother who was in Vietnam at the time of the first one, who in Texas Chainsaw 2. But Bill Moseley isn't even trying to play Jim Sido version of the cook. It's just Bill Moseley being Bill Moseley. And Texas Chainsaw 1 it was made in like 1971. Mm-hmm. So this one, like 16 years later, this should be 1988, 1987. It's like 2010 or something.
2012, it's Edna Gravestone.
Oh, good. It's, like I said, this actively punishes you for knowing shit about the original film. And this didn't even have to be. They could have done this as a period film, set in the 80s. Okay, easily.
Midriff.
So they did that in the 80s.
Midriff.
Have you ever seen a lot of 80s films? They did that. Guys did that too.
No, it was awesome.
You could have done this in the 80s. You could have had, done your little, okay, we're going to show off bits of the first film, little montage thing. And then you could have, not shown the whole burning down stuff and, killing, all that.
Did that happen in another film?
No. The film ended just with him and the woman getting away in the car and Leatherface being all like, "Rah." That was it. And then, apparently, then they didn't need to do it. They could have just had her being all like, oh, the cook, Drayton Sawyer, Jim Sido, had some sort of a child, and this is, years and years later, they were adopted, and then they were discovered by some relative, and Leatherface ended up there somehow. That, entirely feasible in the context of horror franchise. With this one, this did an Evil Dead. Okay, you know the Evil Dead movies?
Yes.
Vaguely?
I know of them, and I've seen some bits of them.
Okay, well, the Evil Dead films have a tendency, every single time there's a new one, they remake the previous ones in the first couple of minutes,
yeah,
and they lie about what happened.
Yeah.
Like Evil Dead 2, just for the audience, in case you need refresher, although I don't see why you would. Evil Dead 2 starts off with the same events as Evil Dead 1, really, really fast, but with only 2 characters.
But Evil Dead's the one with the chainsaw hand guy, right?
Yeah, that's the second one. And then Army of Darkness. Okay, Evil Dead 2 ends up with Ash being sort of hailed as a hero in the medieval times. Then Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness starts and Ash is a slave, but then he has to become the hero later on, and it completely lies about the first 2. It was a rights problem, so they had to refilm it in an extremely abridged manner. They do the same thing here, but they didn't need to because they had the footage from the original. So, instead they're like, hey, let's just put Gunnar Hansen in there, who was the original Leatherface. He was the guy with the beard at the very start who got, shot at the very start, like a cop playing an uncle or something. Ah. And then you're like, hey, let's have Bill Moseley play Drayton Sawyer, which I was all for. I was all like, Bill Moseley's playing Drayton Sawyer in a sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw? Awesome! Then, of course, they're all like, Bill Moseley, we're not going to make you act. You don't need to play Drayton Sawyer, you just need to play Bill Moseley. Oh, great.
I thought his entire character was, I'm quite sexy and I'm a cook, so I'm
No, Drayton Sawyer being the elder brother of Leatherface, who was killed at the start.
I thought you were talking about the character who cooks.
Oh, no. Bill Moseley was killed in the first scene. was like, I could understand the logic of making Drayton Sawyer a character again, played by Bill Moseley, if you're gonna have him, as a main character throughout the film. There was no need to have him recast, look and act nothing like the original character, dress nothing like the original, and then die. It's Drayton Sawyer was my favorite character in the entire Texas Chainsaw movies. I'm sorry.
That's coming from somebody who's seen them. For somebody who hasn't, what happened was there was some guy chasing down a truck with a girl. We're not quite sure why. He's hitting people with a chainsaw. We're not quite sure why. She climbs into the back of a bobcat and gets away. And then an angry mob appears and some black cop tries to stop them from burning down a house.
That black cop, you ever notice that guy could totally be like, I don't know, if you ever need a celebrity impersonator for Yaphet Kotto, that guy's the guy.
So then the angry mob burns down a house. Then X amount of years in the future, some random hillbilly kicks a woman in the jaw to kill her and steals her baby. And that's apparently a legal adoption in this movie. Well, it's Texas. But then some years later, a younger version of that black cop, who shaves his head now, is apparently the sheriff of the town still, after X amount of years. It took a girl to reach, well, post-teenage years anyway. And for some reason, shit's still going down.
It's, okay, yeah, it's confusing for you. It's annoying for me. This film is not not nice for anyone. And I have to give them props where props are due. They tried to do something different with the Texas Chainsaw movie, slightly. They tried, but, honesty as well. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 tried to do something different with the franchise too, all the way back in, 4 or 5 sequels ago, and it was much better.
Wait, there's been loads of these?
Texas Chainsaw 1, 2, 3, Next Generation, Texas Chainsaw Remake, Texas Chainsaw Remake prequel, then this.
Speaking of props, that chainsaw wasn't on for most of the shots it was in.
Yep. Yes, that's true. Let me see what else we got here. The sheriff was called Sheriff Hooper, as in Toby Hooper, the director of the first two.
Mm-hmm.
He also directed Life Force, starring Steve Railsback. On my review list, by the way, Life Force is. It's all about the naked alien space vampires.
Sounds like your kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Toby Hooper was a man who, I don't know what happened. He seemed to lose his talent about late 80s. Yeah, I could rant for a lot longer about the fact that this took the idea of continuity with the other Texas Chainsaw, because this is explicitly a sequel to the first Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, they kind of proved that by putting the first Texas Chainsaw in at the start, as you've said.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, this is a sequel to this other movie. It's a little bit like you got Fellowship of the Ring, and then you got then you got the Two Towers, and the Two Towers, they got like all these lead up footage, going into the Two Towers, and then suddenly, Gandalf is played by Elijah Wood, and there were 27 members of the Fellowship, and they were all black.
And hobbits are 8 feet tall.
Yes, it's like, and they continue the storyline as though you know what the fuck had happened in the first one. It's just mystifying.
Chainsaws don't work like they do in this movie.
Yeah, they tend to switch off if you throw them at people.
They also tend to run out of petrol after about 20 minutes.
Well, that's a problem with all of the Texas Chainsaw movies. But, the second one, which is, the first two are the two ones worth seeing. Third one has bits, Viggo Mortensen's in that. But the second one features Dennis Hopper with 2 chainsaws having a chainsaw battle with Leatherface.
Now that sounds like something worth watching.
Yeah, see, Texas Chainsaw 1 was incredibly serious, incredibly grim. It had almost no gore. They tried to go for like a equivalent of a G or U rating.
Ah.
Because there was no gore in it. Everything was done by inference. It was quite masterful in that.
This one was a bit of a gore fest.
And then the second one, they were all like, let's go for gore comedy. It's like they'd just seen Evil Dead 2, and they were like, let's do something like that. So it's the same director, so it was like, okay, good, different tones. And the third one was, I don't know, it was one of these films that was butchered in editing. The more complete version on DVD is better than the other versions. I think it's okay, but I realize I'm not the only one. I'm not popular in that opinion. Fourth one was fucking awful. The fourth one starred Matthew, what do you call him? The guy from Magic Mike, the older guy.
Ah, him.
The older dancer. McConaughey, yes, and Renée Zellweger. They became famous just after filming it before it was released, so they tried to put legal action to get it not being released. But it was released, and it was Texas Chainsaw: The Next Generation, where you reveal that there is a massive Illuminati-like cult of Texas Chainsaw, cannibal families all across America.
Led by Jean-Luc Picard?
Unfortunately not. Then there was the remake, which featured the guy from Full Metal Jacket as like the equivalent of Drayton.
Mm-hmm.
They had a prequel, which I don't think I saw, and this one, but... Okay. Back to the connection between the first and second one. First and this one. I want to watch this again simply because I want to see exactly how crappily done the integration of Bill Moseley was to the original footage, because I was like watching the original footage and it's like, holy shit, what, have they replaced Jim Sutter with Bill Moseley? I was gone before I actually, just after I realized, so I didn't get to really, observe how terrible looking it was. Why?
I will say the 3D in this film was used to dreadfully poor effect. It was awful. It was just to make shit fly at your face or to make photographs look stupid.
And well, I think we should probably talk about the stupidity inside the actual film itself, not just the connections with other films.
I'm going to crash my car into this gate that opens inwards. It's been fortified to stop tanks.
My favourite bit of stupidity was hey, go down there with your phone, I want to see everything. Let's just stand there and talk to you, while we could be sending other backup there. You don't need backup, dude. There's just a chainsaw-wielding killer down there who's killed a bunch of people. Oh, yeah, we're just watching you. Yeah, this is great.
We have no experience with chainsaw-wielding killers in this town.
Yeah, we have no idea just how dangerous this guy is. No one told us.
Well, that was stupid and a breach of protocol. It was stupid. I still think... Okay, there's this big fortified gate that has electronic locks and it automatically opens if you approach it from the inside of the complex. Now, this gate is massively heavily fortified. It's like big fucking iron structure. And this guy decides, I can't wait for it to open because Leatherface is chasing me.
Very slowly
walking after me. I will crash a VW Type 2 van into the gate, break the engine, which is not at the front of that van, and somehow manage to then flip my car because one of the tires is burst.
Well, it was the tire and the wheel. I have to say, my immediate reaction to seeing the van flip was, well, that was done slightly more realistically than it happened in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I didn't even finish that movie.
Well, Wolverine sort of put his arm out and cut the wheel, and then a second later it was into the air. So it was like this one. It was like. So it's slightly more realistic, I guess.
I actually put a complaint in about the people behind us.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
I went and complained about them. It was quite hard to watch the film. They were talking about the football. They were talking about the previous films, and to be honest, I missed quite a lot of it because of the fart noises they were making.
I noticed them at the start. I didn't hear them after that.
They were annoying me, and that's my reason if I missed anything in the film.
Well, you missed most things in the film. And there's the woman, oh, this guy killed my friends, and oh, look, they're going to leave me here with a bunch of evidence. Oh, I actually happen to be related to this guy, and ooh, I'm going to be totally angry about their treatment, which is fair enough, being angry at the, people going in and killing everyone, including the ones who weren't Leatherface. But then, it's like, oh, I'm going to totally be, live with him and stuff, and the sheriff's like, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with the fact that he killed 3 random civilians recently and all of the killings he did before. No, but to be honest though, the letter stated that he'd look after her if she looked after him. Why didn't she get him to clean up all the fucking blood around the house? That was what I was thinking. Get him to clean up the blood. Get him to clean up the blood. No, don't lift his plate. Tell him to clean up the blood and you'll make him dinner.
Stupid movie. I heard people talking about how terrible it was. I thought they were probably going to be joking because or like overreacting a bit because, like I said, I actually like Texas 3, but oh boy, this is the worst sequel to a goodish film which features a recast Bill Moseley that I have seen since 2001 Maniac's Field of Screams. Or was it the Beverly Hellbillies? The second one, where he replaced Robert Englund. That was fucking awful.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
I'm talking about other Bill Moseley things.
I don't know who Bill Moseley is.
Bill Moseley, he's like a cult horror actor. He's usually quite good, although especially when he like overacts. But this one he was just like, I'm Bill Moseley, and I'm gonna act nothing like Jim Sydow in the same part, even though this is supposed to be a sequel. What the fuck? It's gonna anger me for a long time. I am a Texas Chainsaw fan. It's one of my favorite franchises. If I got a chance to direct a franchise, a film from a franchise, there are two I'd like to do: Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw.
One thing I noticed was the amount of tits and ass in this film with no tits and ass. It was like, meh, we'll have a girl with her boobs hanging out of her top, but God, you can't show a nipple.
Well, that's true. And they also had so many shots, Michael Bay shots where you just have women's asses in the screen.
Yeah.
I swear, I'm going to make a film one day, and I'm just going to have, guys' asses everywhere
They
just
did
to
that.
annoy the straight men.
They did that whenever your sheriff was walking about the police station. They just had a guy's ass.
Okay, I didn't notice that. But I'm going to do it, deliberately as some sort of bizarre fan service just to annoy straight men. Because, fine with women's asses. Women's asses are great. I like women's asses. I'm tired of seeing them really close up in movies for no reason at all.
It's always the same type of ass as well. Fuck's sake, there is some sort of such a thing as body variance, Hollywood.
Or West Texas Hollywood.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Also, they never stated that the two hillbilly people that stole the child moved away, so I was really confused as to why she's going on a big road trip to Texas.
And, why was she not upset that her boyfriend, was dead? Yes, he was having an affair with her friend, but she didn't know that.
She wasn't upset that her best friend or her best friend's boyfriend was dead either.
Yeah, and when the guy was robbing everything, at that point, because American heterosexual white guys, I mix them up all the time. So, if that guy was robbing everything, I was sure it was her friend's boyfriend that was doing it, and then it took me a long time to realize that no, it wasn't.
Perhaps the worst robber in a movie I've ever seen. Ah, I know what to steal. The obviously not silver cutlery. Ah, now look, there's a wine cellar. What am I going to do with all this expensive old wine? Not steal it. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm not going to leave my bag at the top of the stairs, because that would make sense to have a valid collection point that I'm obviously going to have to walk out past again. No, I'll lug this bag downstairs with me.
You did a lot of thinking about that.
I know how to rob a place. He didn't go for valuables, he just lifted random shit!
You ever seen the episode of Star Trek Enterprise where the Ferengi take over the Enterprise?
Yes.
And they just steal random shit,
Yes.
including pads and, plates and things?
It was like that. It was exactly like that. It's like, there was a solid silver, or it might have been pewter, I don't know what the prop was made of, candlestick holder on the table, and it was like the one thing he didn't steal off the table. He took the delf, he took the silverware, he took the teapot, but oh no, the solid silver candlestick, even if it was solid silver, it looks antique and you'd get a pretty penny for it. Nah.
I wanted to know what his plan was. Was his plan go into town and sell it, or walk into the desert to try and get to the next town and then die of thirst, or exhaustion from lugging around the silverware before trying to sell it? Because he was going
to find another van full of random teenagers and offer them a teapot for a lift this time.
Yeah, because he went into town, that's where they were, and they would be all like, ooh, well, police officers, this is our description of the guy, he's got a big bag full of stolen shit.
You'll notice it's all pretty old looking.
And you notice the lawyer guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that mayor was so terrible. He assaulted a lawyer in public in front of about 40 witnesses.
That's all right. He burned a house to the ground in public in front of about 40 witnesses.
No, they were all into that sort of thing, except for the sheriff, who was the one guy who could put him in jail, which was just stupid. But no, this is an even bigger level of stupid, because it is an entire bar, and
he didn't even just push past the guy. He could just have walked on past him. The guy wasn't going to try to stop him. He literally walked up beside him, threw you into a table.
Yeah. And oh God.
And I can't believe it. They were just suddenly, oh, she's a Sawyer, her family name. That means you go track her down and kill her. And then they're surprised whenever they They send a guy to run her over with a car to stop her, and then they're surprised when she knifes him.
In their defense, in they seem to have the bizarre idea that being a member of being a crazy sort of psychotic, cannibal, lunatic, evil person runs in the blood. And in their defense, according to the film, it does, which is just weird.
Well, yes, if you get a community of people to chase down Frankenstein's monster, he will become the monster you describe him as.
He already was.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, but you were saying Frankenstein's monster he'd already killed before they started trying to hunt him down.
Okay, well, if you get a group of people to chase after some random dude
admittedly,
who
he killed by accident. He didn't mean to, but
they created their own monster.
This is bad.
Also, the stupidity of that fucking burn mark. Burn marks don't work like that.
Yeah, that sort of one really should have been a lot bigger and a lot less sort of pretty and shapely after, 18 years of growth.
Whenever she was a newborn, her mother's necklace got heated in the fire and burnt her tit. Except it kind of moved off the edge of her breast into there, and it moved about a bit. The makeup guy fucked up on that, but it was sort of like half an S. It looked like the Windsinger symbol, which was kind of weird, but it was the perfect shape of the medallion 18 years later, because her skin didn't grow at all.
That was weird, because I didn't think it looked like anything like the medallion after 18 years. I was just amazed it was roughly the same size.
Oh no, it was only the top half of the medallion.
It
was enough that Leatherface, who's apparently, according to this movie, is he supposed to be mentally deficient?
Yeah, he was always.
Okay. Well, it's enough that a mentally deficient person recognized it with one glimpse of her topless.
It was, these medallions that they have for every member of the Sawyer family has these identical medallions, and these things are so amazing. It actually replaced the massive chainsaw with the Saw is family, engraved on it as the silliest prop in a Texas Chainsaw movie. But I fucking love that saw. Texas Chainsaw 3 had one of the greatest trailers of all time. It had nothing to do with the film. It was just this really epic voiceover with like this lake, and then suddenly the lady of the lake, puts her arm out of the water with a chainsaw and throws it, and then with the big epic Arthurian music, and Leatherface grabs it, and there's a lightning strike. It's like Texas Chainsaw 3, and it's like, oh, that's fucking amazing.
That's stupid.
It is stupid, but stupid and amazing quite often intersect.
True.
So
don't go and see this film. It's stupid.
I'd say go to see it if you can see it in the cinema, simply because I want to see long-running franchises continue. Because I like horror franchises, but don't expect a good one. Don't even expect one that's so bad it's good. Just expect one that's so bad it's annoying.
Also, one word of warning: if 3D normally hurts your head, don't go and see this in 3D, because 3D normally doesn't hurt my head, yet it did in this film.
Well, you're also wearing sunglasses.
They're anti-glare, but no, it was the fact that the chainsaw was always out of focus whenever they had it popping out at you.
That's true. That was a bit ill thought through.
It's just a bad shot where they couldn't focus on the tip. Kickity tip.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, that will be us. I will see you shortly for a vlog about the life of Pi.